Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another sort of game theory video, community discussion, psychology thing. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. So, because Dune came out and I make videos like this before, I guess it's another time to talk about how you can be the one to predict the future. It doesn't have to be me. Even though I'm the one consistently through all these years predicting games, you can do it too. You can see the future. Maybe. And I always say the reason that other people can't seem to do it is because although they will try to say that I have the ego and that I'm so super narcissistic or whatever, right? It's actually because they are. The problem is that so many people in the community are the ones with huge egos, are extremely narcissistic, and they won't even try. You know what I mean? If you want to be able to predict video games, you need a foundational knowledge of how games work, so you can base your ideas or theories on precedents of, how video games work. You don't want to look at a video game and there's no precedent for the game even working with this assumption that you have, and you're like, oh, well, you're going to be able to do that, blah, 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 and you're comparing it to something else, right? I always say having a sort of good grasp of a multitude of different varieties of video games, and then you have that sort of knowledge of that, and then once you go into the endeavor or the game that you are trying to predict, you can take that past knowledge of how video games work and apply it to this new one, right? So you need a sort of good fundamental grasp of video games, right? And then you need to take your ego out of the equation, and you need to realize that when a game is brand new, everything is of value. There is no best player. There's no player that knows more than anybody else. You know what I mean? Look at a game like Dragon Ball Fighter Z. How many times have I said, why was I able to predict like Dragon Ball Fighter Z so extensively, right? And, I made that video recently going through old messages and everything like that. And it's funny. I was even looking at some of those old forum posts and I'm like, God damn, I'm pretty abrasive in these posts, man. Like, if you were just to look at these like posts, I was looking at them again. I'm like, man, I kind of do seem like an asshole. I'm like, what am I going off on this guy about, dude? Right. And I'm reading it and we're talking Dragon Ball Fighter Z 4 or 5 months into the game. People are arguing with me that you cannot reflect low attacks, and there's no proof to say that you can reflect low attacks. People are just arguing about the stupidest shit, and there's people that are like, oh, talking about we should downvote Clayton's post. He's going to be wrong about the game. You know what I mean? Downvote other people, his post, and then once someone posts it that we like, we're going to say that we like it. Or like upvote his post. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh God, that's why. Yeah, I was like, man, people really wanted me to be wrong. And there's even people arguing about like, oh, why do we have to try it? Who cares? It's just a beta. The game will probably change during the final version of the game anyway. So it doesn't matter to try things. People wouldn't even try, dude. Like, absolutely insane. People wouldn't try, and they had like weird theories about the game, and I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm the only one even trying to have an intelligent conversation about the game. You know what I mean? Like, look at people arguing that, like, oh, can you imagine, like, going off on a tangent? I was in the original and a lot of these betas or whatever. You know what I mean? Do you remember people complain about auto combos now? Do you remember, and you could go look at all these posts. I mean, it's hard to even read because it's so many people are talking about other things while I'm trying to actually analyze the game and everything like that. Do you realize that every time you did an auto combo, you automatically built a super? And while you're doing the auto combo, it would always give you one free Dragon Ball. And then once you finish the combo, you'd get another Dragon Ball. And then there was no limit on how many times you could smash. So I was like, dude, what's the fucking stop people from doing auto combos like this? You're probably going to have crazy combos where you can like build entire bars because it never stops. You automatically build at least one full super just when you hit the auto combo. It gives you a free bar. Sparking it would give you 2. And remember, people, oh, like, no one will ever use auto combos. Auto combos aren't good. Can you believe that? Could you believe how good auto combos would have been? And, once the final version of the game came out, only Trunks then could loop dynamics, but you know what I mean? Then they took that out lickety split after I showed that. But Anyway, the point is, people wouldn't even try. And one of the reasons that, talking about, imagine, have you ever heard the phrase, in some instances, would you rather be a king amongst paupers or a pauper amongst kings, right? So you could say from a certain perspective, and I'm using the phrase kind of loosely, people used to talk a lot about Nakil and Tatsu, right? They were the best people in the game. But if you watch, do you know that people, and they said I was wrong, do you know, go watch air combos for 6 months in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Do you know people did not know that even doing an auto combo in the air homed you in on the guy? Do you know that people would not even do a duck heavy into a jump cancel? They just didn't believe you could ever do an auto combo and do a duck heavy to jump in. I'm not joking. 6 months they thought you could only do AB. And I'm like, dude. And I'm like, yo, dude, I understand that Natsu and Takio are considered the best in this game 6 months into it. But on a certain level, I'm not going to learn anything from this anymore because they're just doing what's going to work. And I'm like, they're the king amongst paupers right now. But the actual king of the game right now, because it's a brand new game, is actually the scrubs, quotation marks, that you guys don't want to watch. Because the scrubs are smashing buttons all over the place. I can actually kind of get an idea of what the property of the moves are going to be. And then because I have a large foundational knowledge of so many different games, I can then try to put these pieces of the puzzle together to make a more accurate, theory about how this game is going to play meta-wise, about what the combo routes are going to be. And that's why for a game like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, yeah, I had to watch a bunch of quotation mark scrubs play. Because although they were the paupers, let's say, you know what I mean? They were actually, if you think about it, the kings, because they were the only person actually trying different things. And it was allowing me to see the different properties of the moves, to sort of give a grasp of how the game might actually work. And so then once I actually got to play the game, I had a sort of idea of what I wanted to do. And that's why people actually got, if you saw some people got mad at me, oh, Clayton says he doesn't play this game and the hardest thing is for him to remember the buttons of the game. Do you remember I said that? And people, oh, he says he forgets what the buttons of the games are. He's so full of himself. He's so nervous. No, literally, that's what was the hardest part, because there was no muscle memory whatsoever. Because I'd never played the game, right? But the ideas were there, right? And using this foundational knowledge of what I had from so many other games, I could try to put those, again, pieces of the puzzle together, But you have these people that were so narcissistic and had such huge egos that, oh, we're not going to watch scrubs play. These guys, we hear they're the best, so we're just going to watch them. Even though 6 months they just did AB special, right? Oh, double supers, that will never work. And even the double super, Goku multiple supers, and that's even a thing, like, what happened when the game finally came out? Because originally I was like, hey, dude, look at this. When Goku does a, Kamehameha super, the guy is still sliding. We already know, if we're going off the foundational knowledge of the game, when the guy slides, you can off the ground them again. What is to stop you from just doing like a cable air hyper viper beam over and over again? And people are like, oh, no, that would never work. That would never work. We're not even going to try. Then what happened during the final beta of the game, right? I saw that the sliding was less than it was in these other betas that we saw. So when I tried cable air hyper viper beam, it was not fast enough. But just, using a little bit of brain knowledge, I was like, okay, well, what if I just do a higher air combo? And then when the Kamehameha shoots them, down to the ground, it's going to take a half a second more for them to hit the ground to slide. They're not sliding at a different, length of time. And so now because I did that, I'm like, now all I have to do is get myself back to the ground. And guess what? I did those double supers. And people are like, oh my God, we just said that would never work. Oh, fuck, let's talk shit about Clay and let's take credit for it. Oh my God, you mean you can link after all these attacks? Let's take credit for it. Like I said, there's actually posts of me talking about homing dash rejumps in the beta. And that stuff was still fake until season 2, people were saying, But people were too narcissistic and they wouldn't even bother to fucking try. And it also made me think, because I saw something like this. I saw this talk about being egotistical and narcissistic. We got like the homo guy, whatever. Another dude that supposedly hates me. Talks about that I hate transgender, and he links the post supposedly where I hate transgender and gay people. But if you look at the post, there's nothing about that whatsoever. But, you know, look at this. Spirit juice, all the ancient tech. And I love that Hono was like, you know what? As soon as I saw this concept also getting the special tyrant, what? As soon as you saw it 2022? Well, you know what, idiot? I forgot if you remember. And you could go look at the post. I'm talking about this years and years ago. It's one of the and like I said, when you go look at this, it's so crazy that you guys were saying this shit was fake and not real, and no one would ever do this. Because you had too much of an ego and were too much of a narcissist to actually like expand your brain and try something. And don't you love that this guy is like, look at this shit. Oh yeah, I can't believe you're like posting stuff of 15 years ago. We were young. Many of us don't even play anymore. We don't play seriously. You know, we don't want credit for like creating tech. Are you sure? There sure is a lot of people trying to take credit for all the stuff that I've done throughout the years. Yeah, oh yeah, we were an ass back then. Sorry for that. I can't remember why you were banned. Well, I mean, if you actually just, you know, look at all these things, you guys literally banned me because you said the tech I was doing was impossible or fake or was not real. You were laughing about it, you know what I mean, in these posts. Oh, gee willikers, I can't believe no one will ever do that. Oh yeah, you're so good, gee willikers, no one will. That's not real. Oh hey guys, 15 years later, this is so awesome. Do you think that the community is the one that actually has a huge ego here? That is so narcissistic? I do think it's funny that the guy, I can't remember why we banned you. I just remember that we were an asshole to you. But I don't remember why we banned you. Well, I do think, though, that's funny that just him saying, though, that kind of, you know, also kind of, you know, says more of what I said, that there's no posts about me hating transgender people or LGBTQ people. I mean, even one of the guys who banned me, says that's not the reason. He says he was just an asshole and he can't remember the reason that they banned me. Well, again, if you actually go look at the post and if you read it, they banned me because I was posting so much tech. They got mad that they weren't the best, that it was actually me that people were going to for tech. And so they had to ban me. I had whole accounts all completely, guess what? There's no post. They're just all deleted. But you see people talking about, oh man, you're so awesome. You're doing more than even the Japanese. It's basically Clayton, then the Japanese, then everybody else far behind. Oh, but we're going to delete all those. And I don't remember why we banned you. I just remember we were an asshole to you. Hey, let's take the tech 15 years later. Oh, don't be mad that we're taking it now. We were young, you know. Why are you holding a grudge? It saddens me. Maybe you guys are the ones that are holding a grudge. Why are you still promoting this lie about me? You're still promoting a lie. Like, how is this like a victim blaming complex or something like that? A persecution? Like, what is this? Like, oh, why are you so mad that we keep lying about you and we keep taking credit? Don't worry about it. We just don't want to talk about it. Anyway, so basically, the reason you can't predict tech is because too many people are too full of themselves. And they won't even bother to try. Excuse me. The reason that I can predict stuff is because I actually have a foundational knowledge of how many video games work. I can base my assumptions upon precedents and reality. And when a game is brand new, I don't automatically assume that there is only one best person in the game. I don't automatically look to the king amongst paupers. Oh, you're the best person when no one even know, when people don't even know the properties of the move, right? The actual best people, you know, quotation marks, right? are the people that are actually trying stuff so we can actually see the properties of the moves. But you guys are so egotistical that you want to assume that you're the best at something and that you know everything about the game, but you refuse to actually try. You refuse to see a new perspective. You refuse to watch scrubs play, even when a game is brand new. It's very strange. Anyway, remember if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.